Gaming. A hobby that keeps a lot of us up until our nights have looked like this for a good few hours, only to inevitably wake up the next morning and have a morning like this. Gaming is a popular hobby because it can be just approached by just about anyone, and anyone can pick it up and have fun with it. That being said, there are definitely a few things that I've noticed since I moved here about 2 years ago that I kind of want to talk about and share with everybody, and I think you may or may not find these interesting as well. So, why don't we take a look at gaming in Japan through the eyes of another gamer? Mobile gaming is everywhere. From games based on anime series, to even games based on other games from different systems, mobile gaming truly is everywhere here. A lot of times I'll even be on a public bus that's very crowded and I'll still see a lot of people all with their phones simply just playing a little game. Even in restaurants and various other places out in public, I see a ton of people just playing their little game. As to why it's so popular, my guess would be is that because a lot of people already have the phone anyway, and mobile games are just a good time kill if you ask me. However, there's some games that have a lot of popularity that I just cannot seem to explain. PC gaming is pretty niche. Contrary to popular belief, PC gaming is actually pretty niche in Japan. A lot of people tend to think of Japan as a very PC-heavy gaming market, but most people tend to mix it up with South Korea, as South Korea tends to have a more popular PC gaming market. The PC gaming market in Japan is still there, but a lot of it is dominated with a lot of free-to-play type stuff, as well as ports from console games. But it is still there. But I think part of the problem is just that a lot of people compare the price of a gaming PC to, say, a console, and the console is a lot cheaper. And if you compare the games for a lot of the big name games anyway, it's the same price, if not cheaper, on the console compared to the PC after currency conversion. So I kind of understand why PC gaming is a little niche, but at the same time, as someone who is primarily a PC gamer, it is kind of annoying because if I wind up needing new hardware, which I'm going to soon because my current PC is on its last legs, it's going to make it a little difficult to try to find anything, and could also wind up potentially trying to force me back into console as much as I love playing on PC. Console gaming is the unquestioned ruler of the gaming market over here. Without a single shadow of a doubt, console gaming reigns supreme here in Japan. As I stated earlier, compared to PC gaming, it's definitely a lot cheaper in the eyes of many, even though you're replacing the hardware a lot more often than a PC, if you ask me. But regardless, console gaming is definitely a lot more easily accessible over here and definitely makes it a lot more popular. While you have your Mario and Sonic and those kind of games, you have some more games that, in the West anyway, are considered a bit more niche. Examples that come to my mind are games like Galgun or Senran Kagura. Galgun being a game where you fight off hordes of schoolgirls who are all hopelessly in love with you, while in Senran Kagura you control various ninja girls who fight various enemies and try to tear the clothes off of each other. I am not making this up. However, that being said, console games don't have to be quite so niche, at least compared to Western audiences, and are very easily accessible, as I said, and there's a wide variety of games constantly coming out, some of which being region exclusive, but a lot of them eventually getting ported overseas, and some of them even getting ported to PC games, which is how I've been able to play some of these kinds of games. However, I should note that when it comes to consoles, Nintendo and Sony are the unquestioned kings of the market here. Xbox, sorry if you're an Xbox fan, but there really isn't a whole lot of Xbox stuff over here. The most I've found when I've gone to any gaming store, including several gaming stores in Akihabara, which is considered by many to be the quote nerd capital of the world, even there, the most I found for Xbox was about 5 to 10 of the exclusive games, as well as a couple of peripherals such as a controller and maybe a power cord. So if you are going to wind up coming over here and you're more of an Xbox type guy, be prepared to have to import a lot of your stuff because you're not really going to find too much in the stores over here. However, with any form of gaming brings competitive gaming.
We've got an Inkjet versus a Stingray, as you see Latias up top with that heavy Splatling getting a nice job with that Splatling right there. 2:15 left in this one, 4-3 advantage on the field for Yeah Nah. You see their ability right now to use some of that range that they have here, 9, is giving them the early advantage.
And another reason that range is so good on this map is because it's a long map. They're going to need to jump back into the action, as we see Yamamichi getting another great splat.
Competitive gaming in Japan is not necessarily quite on the level of, say, Overwatch, but there is a good bit of competitive gaming over here. One of the bigger genres tends to be fighting games. However, as of recent, there's been one game in particular that has quite the fan following, and that would be Splatoon 2. That game is a game exclusive to the Nintendo Switch and is a sequel to the first Splatoon. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. It's actually a pretty fun little game. But it does have a World Championship, and actually the World Championship was held at E3 last year, and it had an average of several thousand viewers on Twitch at a time. However, with a lot of games over here that have a competitive side, there is a bit more of a niche following, again, compared to games like Overwatch or League of Legends, but the community around those games is definitely a lot stronger, if you ask me. The people who play these games tend to want to see the community grow so they can actually have some more competition and as well as more opportunities to play at higher levels that a lot of gamers for a lot of bigger games tend to have. I mean, hell, even I'm trying to play Splatoon 2, for example, at a somewhat higher level, and I am a bit of a noob because in most people's eyes I'm a, quote, filthy casual. But I'm not too bad, and I mostly just try to have fun with it anyway. But I do try to pay attention to the competitive scene a little bit, because one thing that us gamers can do is we can use the competitive scenes of games to try to improve our own play to make the game a bit better for us so that we can not be complete potatoes all the time. But, as I said, the competitive scene over here is mostly around games like fighting games or some shooters tend to be a little popular. Splatoon 2 is definitely a very popular one, given that it's one of Japan's best-selling games, last time I checked. But, compared to the Western market, you know, with games, again, like League of Legends or Overwatch, it's definitely a lot smaller, but the community, in my opinion, is a lot stronger, because a lot of the games that these communities are based around, the community around the game tends to be a lot more approachable and less hostile towards newcomers. So there you have it, gaming in Japan from a gamer's perspective. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, or at least found something interesting, which would make my job... Well, actually, this isn't really a job so much as a hobby, but either way, hopefully you at least found something either entertaining or interesting or something along those lines. And if you did, please let me know by either liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, or some combination of the three, or, you know, maybe not. You do you. That's perfectly up to you. I'm not going to force you to do nothing. But either way, hope to see you guys later, and peace. So real quick, just before the actual video ends, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Latias. She was super awesome and allowed me to use a lot of the clips that you saw from the Splatoon 2 portion when I was talking about competitive gaming. She may not think that she's a pro player, but as far as a lot of people are concerned, because she played on the World Championship team, a lot of people consider that to be a pro player. Either way, if you do wind up seeing this, thank you so much for letting me use those clips. I think it definitely made that section a bit more interesting or entertaining, or some combination of the two. I'm ranting either way. Stay awesome, and thanks again for letting me use those clips.